A young woman from Richmond mysteriously disappeared after leaving the other bar, sparking months of desperate searches.
It was January 4th of 2019. She was enjoying her first night out after giving birth to twin boys a month earlier. This surveillance video of her leaving a Lexington bar with 3 men was released and launched a firestorm of theories into her disappearance.
When police discovered hidden traces buried in the suspect's backyard, justice was finally served with a 50-year sentence behind bars.
Although David Sparks is being held at the Lincoln County Jail, his case is actually being handled here at the Garrett County Courthouse.
Savannah Spurlock was born on February 5, 1996, in Richmond, Kentucky, in the loving arms of her mother, Ellen Spurlock. She was a devoted mother, a caring daughter, and a loyal friend who always radiated positive energy to everyone around her. After graduating from Madison Central High School in 2010, Savannah attended Eastern Kentucky University. Although she did not complete her studies, she never stopped striving to build a stable life for herself and her children, especially as a single mother. Savannah worked in the restaurant industry, a job she truly loved because it allowed her to meet people, connect with others, and bring joy to her customers. Alongside her work, she had a deep passion for rescue efforts and community service. Friends recalled that Savannah had taken several first aid training courses and was always ready to help whenever someone was in distress. She once shared that her greatest wish was to make a difference, even a small one, in someone's life, a belief that made everyone remember Savannah as someone who lived guided by kindness and compassion. On the evening of Thursday, January 3, 2019, 3 young men who worked the night shift together planned to go out and unwind, joining the Thirsty Thursday events at a few bars in Lexington, Kentucky. After a long week of hard work, all they wanted was to enjoy a relaxing night with friends, a few drinks, and the lively atmosphere of the city's nightlife. Around the same time in Richmond, Savannah Spurlock borrowed her mother Ellen Spurlock's car. She told her mother she was just stepping out briefly to grab some food. But in reality, Savannah had a different plan. She intended to pick up her close friend Jocelyn Hutch and meet another friend, Dion Johnson, in Lexington for a short night out to escape the stresses of daily life. After a month filled with emotional ups and downs, Savannah wanted to take a moment for herself. Nearly a month earlier, she had given birth to twins, her 3rd and 4th children. A friend later shared that Savannah had known she was pregnant, but had no idea she was expecting 2 babies. Following an incident at the hospital, the twins were taken in by their father, Savannah's ex-boyfriend, while she returned to live with her mother to recover her health and regain emotional balance. Just 2 weeks after giving birth to twins, Savannah faced another small setback in her life. She was detained by police and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Her court date was set for January 7, 2019. On the evening of January 3rd, Savannah and her close friend drove to another friend's house, parking her mother's car across the street. She locked her large purse inside the vehicle and only carried a small wallet with her. Although the weather that night was quite cold, Savannah didn't wear a jacket. When they entered the house, the group had a few drinks to warm up for the night. A little pre-game, as they called it, before heading to downtown Lexington. Around 1:30, they decided to go out to the local bars. At the same time, the 3 young men from the night shift also arrived in Lexington. They first stopped at Two Keys Tavern, but since the cover charge was high, they decided to move on to the other bar, a livelier spot nearby. There, They ordered a few Jack and Cokes to kick off the night. Not long after, Savannah and her friends also arrived at the other bar. They ordered drinks, chatted, and happened to run into an acquaintance named Kayla Hamlin, who snapped a few pictures to remember the night before leaving early. Shortly after, their friend Dion Johnson told them he had to head home because he had a court appointment the following morning. Savannah and Jocelyn Hutch assured him they were fine and could take care of themselves before Dion left. Meanwhile, in Richmond, about 25 miles from Lexington, Savannah's mother began to feel uneasy when she realized her daughter didn't seem to be returning the car as soon as she had promised. When she couldn't reach Savannah by phone, worry set in that something might have gone wrong, so she contacted the Richmond Police Department to report the vehicle missing. Local authorities quickly began searching for the car and gathering information about Savannah, but by that time, she was already outside the area under their jurisdiction. Not stopping there, Ellen called nearly all of her daughter's close friends, hoping someone had seen her or knew where she might be. The mother's anxiety grew with every unanswered call, because Savannah rarely went out for long without keeping in touch. From that moment on, an unshakable fear began to fill the small home in Richmond. At the other bar in Lexington, tensions rose when a minor argument broke out between Savannah and Jocelyn. The bar's security staff had to step in and remind them to calm down or risk being asked to leave. After that, the two separated. Savannah chose to stay and began chatting, getting to know a few men at the bar, while Jocelyn decided to head home early after Savannah reassured her that she was fine and could get back on her own. Across the room, three men, David Sparks, Isaiah Cummings, and Brandon Lewis, were enjoying their second round of drinks. As the last call approached, Savannah walked over to their table and joined the conversation, bringing a cheerful energy that quickly broke the ice between them. When the bar was about to close, the group decided not to end the night there. Since all three men worked night shifts, they were still wide awake and wanted to keep the evening going. Savannah agreed to join them, because Brandon Lewis was visiting from South Carolina and staying with family, and Isaiah Cummings had just moved into an unfurnished apartment. The group decided to go to David Sparks's house in Lancaster, Kentucky, about 40 miles away. Security footage from the parking lot near the other bar captured the moment Savannah and the three men left together and walked toward their cars. This would become the last known image of Savannah Spurlock. Two of the men got into one vehicle with her and drove off, while David followed behind in his black Chevrolet S10, heading toward Lancaster on a separate route. While Savannah and the two men were on their way to David Sparks's house in Lancaster, her mother, Ellen Spurlock, finally managed to reach her through a FaceTime call. During that brief conversation, Ellen recalled clearly seeing that Savannah was sitting in someone else's car and caught a quick glimpse of one of the two men with her. Savannah reassured her mother that she was fine, saying she would get a ride back to where her mother's car was parked and return home the next morning. The call ended somewhat abruptly, and shortly after, Savannah switched her phone to airplane mode. From that moment on, Ellen was unable to reach her daughter again. Savannah did not return home the next day as she had promised, and around 9 p.m. on Saturday, January 5th, 2019, one of her friends discovered the car she had borrowed from her mother abandoned in the Lexington area. Upon receiving the news, Ellen Spurlock immediately canceled the missing vehicle report and arranged to have the car brought back to their home in Richmond. Although Savannah still hadn't shown up, the family initially thought she might just need a few days to herself, as she had occasionally taken short breaks before. However, by Sunday, when there were no text messages, phone calls, or social media activity from Savannah, the family's concern turned into fear. Realizing something was seriously wrong, Ellen filed an official missing person report with the Richmond Police Department. Law enforcement quickly coordinated with officers in Lexington and surrounding counties to expand the search area. The situation grew even more alarming on Monday morning, January 8th, when Savannah failed to appear in court in Lexington for her scheduled hearing regarding the driving under the influence charge, an appointment she would never have missed if she were able to. From that moment, Savannah was officially considered missing under suspicious circumstances, and the search for her entered an urgent phase. The security footage from the parking lot, the last known images showing Savannah Spurlock leaving with 3 men, quickly spread across local television broadcasts, newspapers, and social media. The communities of Richmond and Lexington were shaken by the news of the young woman's disappearance. Hundreds of volunteers, including friends, neighbors, students from Eastern Kentucky University, and even people who had never met Savannah, joined the search efforts. They divided into teams, combing through roads, suburban areas, fields, and riverbanks, handing out flyers and posting posters with Savannah's photo and messages pleading for her safe return. Many local cafes, restaurants, and shopping centers also displayed her picture to assist with the investigation. Alongside the community's efforts, law enforcement from the Richmond Police Department, Lexington Police Department, and Kentucky State Police worked together and identified the 3 men seen in the video. All 3 were brought in for questioning, with David Sparks quickly becoming the central figure in the investigation. During a recorded interview, partially blurred for legal reasons, David described in detail how the group went back to his home in Lancaster, Kentucky, and recounted what he claimed had taken place that night.
I show up, we listen to music a little bit, she dances a little bit. Me and her walked back to the bedroom. She led me back there, so I followed. A little bit of foreplay with her finger, kissing a little bit. Eventually, throughout the night, throughout the few hours that we were there all together, everybody went back to the bedroom. But it was just in 2, so it wasn't like all of us were back there. It was her and Isaiah, and her and me.
Anybody get real far back in the bedroom, as far as you know?
Nobody spent more than 2-3 minutes back there. Basically just hung out, listened to music and stuff like that. Other than that, until...
You drinking?
Yes, we was drinking Crown, just straight.
What, in shot glasses? Or...
Yes, shot glasses.
Okay. Who was drinking?
Mainly me and her, because Brandon and Isaiah had to drive back. But me and her was going basically shot for shot. We was pretty drunk. I actually puked before Brandon and Isaiah left. I was in the bathroom throwing up. But
David went on to say that during that night, there was some casual conversation and lighthearted joking among them. But he insisted that no one in the group behaved inappropriately or took advantage of Savannah when she began to lose consciousness from the effects of alcohol. He claimed they simply listened to music, talked, and joked around in a relaxed manner before she showed signs of being tired and needing to rest.
It was probably around 5 o'clock. She was sitting there on my left seat, which reclines. She's kind of sitting there, and she's kind of starting to daze in and out. thought she was about to pass out, so we helped her back to my bedroom and decided just let her sleep, and then in the morning I would give her a ride home or whatever happened.
So y'all, who took her back into the bedroom?
Me and Isaiah did.
Like one on each side kind of thing?
Yeah.
Why? Because she was in and out of
Yeah, she was passing
drunk?
Yeah, she was drunk.
Did she throw up?
She did not.
That you noticed?
Mhm.
And okay. All right. Did she keep her clothes on the whole time?
Yes.
So she had her clothes on.
Yep.
She didn't take her clothes off. Nobody ever took her clothes off.
No.
All right. So you put her in your bed. All right. What size is your bed? Is it a double, queen, king? What's that?
Queen size.
Queen size bed.
Mhm.
It's your bedroom. Put her in there. Why'd y'all put her in there as opposed to somewhere else?
I just figured I would give her the bed.
Right. Well, is it the best place to sleep in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most comfortable.
All right. You turn off lights?
Yes.
Close the door?
They hung out for another 15, 20 minutes, something like that. After that, they left to go back to Lexington. I fell asleep on my recliner, and then, all the way up against the window. About 9:30, she woke me up, asking what the address was, so I gave it to her. I sat there.
You gave her that. How did she wake you up? Did she do like this or what?
No, she never got that close. She just kind of hollered at me, and I woke up.
What would she say? Hey?
Yeah, she said, kept saying hey. And I just kind of woke up, gave her the address. I was still,
Then what'd she do?
She turned around and went back into the bedroom. I heard the door close. I wasn't sure what she was doing.
What time morning was this?
It was about 9:30.
Give or take?
I sat there. I was still pretty drunk, so I just I didn't mean to. I meant to stay up, but fell back asleep. I woke back up at 11:30ish, and Brandon would text asking how everything went. And I got up, and she wasn't there. My door was unlocked, and she was gone.
When investigators questioned David Sparks about his whereabouts on the night Savannah disappeared, they simultaneously obtained a warrant to search his home in Lancaster, Kentucky, along with his Chevrolet S10 pickup truck and personal cell phone, both of which David voluntarily handed over to police. Since the last confirmed location where Savannah had been seen was David's house, the Lancaster Police Department quickly expanded their investigation throughout the neighborhood. Officers went door to door looking for witnesses and collecting any security footage that might show vehicle movement or people entering or leaving the area during the night of January 4th into the early hours of January 5th, 2019. Their goal was to verify David's account, specifically whether anyone had actually seen Savannah leaving that house. By around January 9th, just 5 days after she was last seen, investigators had gathered hours of surveillance footage from residential and business cameras across the area. Brandon Lewis was also brought in for questioning about what had taken place in the early hours of that morning. He provided investigators with a statement similar to David Sparks's account, describing in detail the night at the house in Lancaster. Brandon said that the group simply talked, drank, and listened to music, and that there was no behavior that crossed any boundaries or caused harm to Savannah. He mentioned that during the lighthearted atmosphere, there were a few gestures of friendliness between them, but he firmly maintained that no one acted inappropriately or took advantage of Savannah when she became impaired. He also emphasized that after noticing she seemed tired, they helped her lie down to rest in a room and continued chatting in the living room before leaving one by one.
After you know, David, we were walking there, looking at David or whatever. That's why I was saying, you know, me and Isaiah was like, you know, pretty much just a dead mission. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she's out.
Yeah, she got motherfucking cold. So, hey, we about to go ahead and bounce. You know what I'm saying? You straight, I said it was straight, but you know what I'm saying? Threw up, and we had left. That was our involvement. Because once she was out, she, I ain't got no use for her. So, you're like, all right, bro. He's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, get my stuff and sleep on the couch. And we was like, yeah, probably best bed. And he was like, yeah, because I don't want her, you know, waking up and then seeing a strange guy in the bed next to her and be like, what the fuck going on with Rule? And I'm like, yeah, probably the best bed. And we got left.
So did you think that he actually went and slept on the couch, even though it's not really a couch, it's got a center console, so at best it's a recliner.
Yeah.
So you can't lay down on it, right?
Yeah, it was definitely makes sense now.
So do you think he lay in the bed, or did you get the impression he was going out on the recliner?
Like, truthfully, at the time, I really was like, all right, you're gonna sleep on the bed. But like, when you just put it in that perspective, like real talk, like you can't even stretch out on this fucking thing. So,
I don't need to sleep on.
I'm not entirely too sure if he actually slept on the couch. So,
Did you have that conversation with him?
Yeah, because he said, you know what I'm saying?
I'm talking after the fact. Next morning, did you have that conversation with him? In the days following.
Oh yeah, I mean the days following, you know what I'm saying, everything he's told me, he's been adamant that he slept on the couch.
Okay.
But now that I think about his couch, I want to ask him, how did you sleep on the couch? Because like you said, you can't stretch out. And then
did you say you did ask him this?
No, I said now.
Oh, no one would.
Yeah,
like now that you thought about
it.
Yeah,
nah, like
what ask him? How did you?
Yeah, like because it's a couch thing in the middle. So and the thing is so close to the wall. I mean, you can recline it, but
you can't.
Yeah, you really can't. Yeah, you can't lay. Right. You can't lay back. So
yeah, he didn't sleep on.
So he's sleeping straight up, or he's sleeping in the bed with her.
Yeah, one or the other. So I definitely.
She's not really going to be able to tell him any different at that point, because she's out like a lot.
Yeah, I'm talking about like a fucking dead fucking stick. Like she was cold. Like
she's breathing, but
yeah, I must say yeah, she was up. She was just drunk as shit. Like,
yeah.
Is she alive when you leave the house?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I know she was alive. Yeah.
Realizing that Brandon Lewis's testimony contained several inconsistencies and possible omissions, investigators began to increase the pressure during the interrogation. They believed that while Brandon might not have been directly involved in Savannah's disappearance, he likely knew more than he was admitting. Throughout the questioning, investigators repeatedly emphasized that this was no longer just a missing person case. It might have turned into a tragic incident where Savannah's safety had been seriously compromised.
We know you don't want to have anything to do with it, but if you didn't have anything to do with it, be honest with us.
Yeah, I really didn't, man. Like, I swear to God.
I'm gonna tell you a story, man. I'm not gonna say that this is the same account that would happen for you.
Like, word up, man.
But I'm just gonna tell you, all right? I've worked cases before where somebody's died and a person has moved a body, and you know what? They got a fucking misdemeanor.
Yep.
Abuse of a corpse. A misdemeanor. Class A.
And I've worked a case where
she was wrapped up in a fucking tarp in the back of the truck. They dumped her.
I've worked one where the person provided the vehicle that the person used to move a dead body, and that person who provided the vehicle, knowing what it was going to be used for, is already out of jail, and they're out walking around right now. So, I mean,
it's time to fucking tell the truth.
Yeah, but that's
whatever's holding you back, and you think it's so bad.
Nah, but
if you'll just tell us, it's probably really not that bad, because there really isn't anything. that we haven't heard or seen of.
Yeah, but
that we haven't dealt with as far as when it comes to this kind of stuff.
The thing that we most was worried about was whether or not, you know what I'm saying, if she had alcohol poisoning or
okay.
There was anything wrong with her, you know, along those lines. That was
if she had too much to drink.
Yeah.
Or what about if David was going to do something he probably shouldn't to a girl that wasn't awake and able to say no? Was that a worry? Or no? You can tell me either way. I don't care. If it didn't cross your mind, it didn't. You tell me.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't a worry, but it crossed our mind. You know what I'm saying? But
whether or not David did or didn't.
Yeah, or rather, what he would or wouldn't do by, you know what I'm saying, we wasn't there. Because, I mean, just like both of, you know what I'm saying, said, like.
Now, when did that cross your mind? When you were leaving, or?
Yeah, we was walking out the door, and then Isaiah was like, you sure we should let that girl there? I was like, yeah, why? Like, I don't know. He's like, David really want to fuck her. And I was like, I mean, hell yeah, but, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I mean, if he did, he do, you don't. I mean, right. I don't know whether he did or not, but, you know what I'm saying? He was definitely more
eager.
Next, investigators summoned Isaiah Cummings for questioning, hoping to gather more details about the final hours Savannah was seen. They also obtained a warrant to search the Nissan Pathfinder Isaiah had driven that night, along with his personal cell phone, in order to extract location data, messages, or calls that could aid the investigation. In his statement, Isaiah confirmed most of what Brandon Lewis had said, that the group drank, listened to music, and talked until Savannah appeared tired and was helped into a bedroom to rest. However, investigators noticed certain details in Isaiah's account that strengthened their theory that David Sparks was the last person to be with Savannah. Both Brandon and Isaiah admitted that they left David's house in the early morning hours, leaving him alone with the young woman.
Have you and Brandon talked about the possibility of something must have happened after you all left? Because, I mean, you all know nothing happened while you were there, right?
We didn't know she was asleep when we left.
Right. So she was fine when you all leave. Have you and Brandon talked about what may have happened after you all left?
Not even a possibility. Not even thought, well, I don't think David would do anything, but is it possible?
I don't think he would.
I know, but have you all discussed that possibility?
No.
So the guy that was last seen with her asleep in his house, and she's now been missing 6 or 7 days, and you don't even want to consider the fact that
I said I can't point fingers for something I don't know.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying you got any direct knowledge of it. I'm just asking you.
We're just asking you. Has it even come into your mind? I mean, you've had plenty of time to think about this, and I'm sure you said that you're confused about it as much as we are. I mean, talk to us. I mean, as far as like what always went through your head. Like, have you ran some things through your head of what? Is there a possibility David could have done something? I mean, you said you don't know him as well as Brandon. You said him and Brandon, they're pretty tight.
But from talking to him at work and hanging out with him, he don't seem like no bad guy.
Is he weird?
No, it's just the way he acts, and we got used to it. Like,
how's he act? Tell us about
it. Like they're real quiet, like stay to themselves, at work.
So he's kind of a loner. More or less.
Yeah, unless he's talking to the guys at work.
Okay. Does he hang out with any other guys at work that you know of, or I mean?
Just me and Brandon.
Okay.
So we all have lunch every day.
Okay.
Isaiah, do you have any direct knowledge of anybody that was involved in her disappearance or her death?
No, sir.
Would that ever change? You're confident of that?
I'm confident.
Is there anybody you can vouch for and 100% say they had no involvement in Savannah's disappearance or death?
I didn't know for sure. I mean, Frank, we lived out together, made it home, like a few minutes after each other. We had to drop them off.
So you can 100% for a fact say you and Brandon. Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Analysis of the cell phone data from Brandon Lewis and Isaiah Cummings confirmed that both men left David Sparks' house in the early morning hours, just as they had stated. A thorough search of Isaiah's Nissan Pathfinder also revealed no forensic evidence connected to Savannah. However, when investigators examined David's home in Lancaster, Kentucky, they uncovered several notable details, some potentially incriminating. Although no personal belongings of Savannah were found, no clothing, jewelry, or personal items, the nightstand drawer beside David's bed contained a number of suspicious objects, including several condoms, a dangerous .308 caliber rifle, a Derringer-type handgun, and several knives. All items were seized as evidence. In addition, forensic technicians discovered traces of an unknown liquid splattered on the bedroom wall and around the doorframe, believed to possibly be connected to a serious incident that had taken place inside the house. These samples were sent to the Kentucky State Forensic Laboratory for DNA testing and source identification. However, during the search of the house in Lancaster, Kentucky, investigators discovered something that deeply alarmed them: a notebook hidden carefully inside a cabinet. Inside it was a handwritten letter by David Sparks that read, "How do you explain the feeling of emptiness to an ordinary person? That the passing of everyone around you has no effect? I feel so lonely, so broken, that I've created false personalities around everyone I know, hoping to fit in, to feel accepted." He continued, "It only makes me angrier. I keep the dark, true side of myself buried in the deepest parts of my mind, and I've done it successfully for years. Damn, for my entire life." The letter went on to say, "I feel real love for anything. Now that I know who I truly am, I see a greater need to hide my true self, but all I want is to be free." And he concluded with, "I'm constantly in a state of discomfort. Nothing seems to help anymore. How do you look your mother in the eyes and tell her that you're a born psychopath, that she gave birth to a monster, someone who wouldn't care at all about taking another person's final breath or driving a knife into their chest and smiling about it?" As investigators continued gathering evidence, they canvassed the neighborhood around David Sparks' home and discovered security footage showing David loading several large black trash bags into the bed of his Chevrolet S10 and driving off shortly after the night Savannah Spurlock was believed to have stayed at his house. When investigators returned for a follow-up search, they noticed that the entire interior of the home appeared to have been cleaned unusually thoroughly. Everything was neatly arranged, with no visible signs of disturbance, and one officer observed that the lower portions of several walls seemed freshly wiped down with cleaning solution. The major question arose: was David simply disposing of household trash after routine cleaning? Or was he erasing traces of a serious incident? To find out, the investigative team traced the truck's route to a local landfill, bringing in cadaver dogs to search the area, but no significant evidence was found. The samples collected from the house, including traces of the suspicious liquid, were sent to the Kentucky State Crime Lab for DNA analysis. The results showed that none of the samples matched the DNA profiles of either David or Savannah. After the DNA test results were released, forensic experts concluded that the traces of liquid found inside David Sparks' home most likely belonged to a previous tenant, since David had moved in only about a month before Savannah's disappearance. At that point, investigators had no physical evidence linking any of the three men directly to Savannah Spurlock's disappearance in the early hours of January 4, 2019. Due to the lack of probable cause, none of them were arrested. However, the investigation continued to expand. Police conducted a thorough search of the home and surrounding property belonging to David's parents, Alan and Alta Sparks, located in rural Lancaster, Kentucky, covering roughly 1 acre of land. Despite deploying multiple units and specialized equipment, no suspicious findings were uncovered. Meanwhile, detectives sought to learn more about David's true personality through people who had known him. One of them was Haley Hinkle, a longtime friend of David's who was serving time at a local jail at the time.
We're just wanting to basically get a character, how his character is, how he was.
He's an amazing dude, for real. I went to jail when my little boy was almost 1. He took care of my kid. He has my kid's name on his arm. He's always been a good dude. He's always come to my rescue when I needed him.
Okay.
He's a good dude, for real. He's went to church with his mom and dad's always went to church with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
His uncle used to be a pastor at my church.
Okay. Was there anything, you told us multiple times he's a good dude, helped you, and we get that, but was there any time that he might have said or done anything that was kind of out of character for him and you'd be like, man, that's kind of weird coming from David?
No.
Never seen him do nothing or get real pissed off at somebody? Or
He's never really got angry with me. I mean, I've broke his heart 10,000 times and he still comes back the same way he looked.
Basically making sure that, or just asking you, did he ever distribute any behaviors that was like, he's a little weird?
No.
Anything like that?
He's an awkward person until you get to know him, you know what I mean? He comes off really weird, but once you get to know him, he's not that bad.
David Sparks' attorney later contacted police to provide clarification regarding the contents of the handwritten letter found in the notebook. He explained that the letter had been written during a period of severe emotional crisis, when David was experiencing feelings of isolation and confusion, and that the dark tone of the writing did not reflect who he truly was in everyday life. According to the attorney, David was a quiet, reserved individual who had been trying to work through his personal struggles. Meanwhile, Savannah's mother began appearing in news broadcasts and media interviews.
I don't know where Savannah is. This is so unlike her. I believe that she could have been taken against her will. It's the worst nightmare. We're leaning on our faith in God and each other, our family, our friends. This is horrible. Sister Savannah, I would say to her, please come home to your family and friends. We miss you. We love you more than you will ever know.
While the investigation remained at a standstill, David Sparks tried to maintain a sense of normalcy, continuing to work and moving back in with his parents, Alan and Alta Sparks, at their rural home in Lancaster. Meanwhile, Isaiah Cummings and Brandon Lewis returned to their daily routines, and Savannah Spurlock's twin babies were cared for by their father and older siblings. Despite the passing of time, Ellen Spurlock and Savannah's loved ones refused to give up hope. They organized prayer vigils, lit candles in her memory, and continued to believe that someday there would be a breakthrough in the case. That hope finally became reality in mid-2019. One afternoon, the Richmond Police Department received a call from the attorney representing Alan and Alta Sparks, David's parents. The lawyer reported that the Sparks family had noticed a strange, unpleasant odor coming from the strawberry patch behind their home and asked police to investigate. At first, they assumed it might be a decomposing animal, but as the smell grew stronger and clearly emanated from beneath the soil, suspicion began to take hold. As soon as the Kentucky State Police were notified by the Richmond Police Department, they immediately obtained a search warrant and deployed officers to the Sparks family home in the outskirts of Lancaster. The area was quickly sealed off to prevent anyone from entering, or disturbing the scene. Alongside local units, 11 FBI agents were also dispatched to assist with the investigation, signaling that the case had reached the highest level of priority. While law enforcement was en route to the property, David Sparks unexpectedly drove himself to the Richmond Police Department. According to reports, he parked in front of the building, tossed his car keys onto the back seat, locked the doors, and walked inside. At the front desk, David calmly stated that he needed an attorney present immediately. His sudden appearance at the police station, just as authorities were preparing to search his family's property, led investigators to believe that he already knew something was about to be uncovered, and that only strengthened their resolve to uncover the truth behind the Sparks family's strawberry patch, where the strange odor was now growing stronger by the hour. Inside the small fenced strawberry garden behind the Sparks family home, investigators discovered an area of freshly disturbed soil. When they began to dig, they uncovered the remains of Savannah Spurlock, buried about 19 inches below the surface. Her remains had been placed inside a large black trash bag, which also contained a small decorative rug, and the entire bundle was wrapped in 2 additional layers of plastic bags. It appeared that a small animal had dug into the area, tearing part of the outer bag and allowing the odor to escape, ultimately leading the Sparks family to notice it. The scene was immediately secured as forensic specialists carefully excavated the site, removing each layer of soil meticulously to preserve all possible evidence. Investigators also interviewed Alan and Alta Sparks, David's parents, to clarify how they had discovered the area. Both said they initially thought the odor came from a wild animal on their property. But when they noticed the ground had sunk and a piece of black material was exposed, they grew suspicious and contacted their attorney right away. The discovery of Savannah's remains brought an end to more than 6 months of relentless searching by both law enforcement and the community.
About 2 weeks ago, I noticed I was down at the garden, and of course we weed eat and mow, and I noticed some odor, and there was a small place there in the dirt that had kind of washed away. Of course we've had a lot of rain and different things, and it was there was a little odor, and in my view, I thought, because we live on a farm, that, you know, there's times that an animal will kill something and bury it. And that was just my initial. I thought, well, this is what's happened. So I just took a shovel and filled the thing back up, and just to cover the odor, and figured in a week or so that it would be, you know, dissolved.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, I was mowing, and it, you know, it was pretty strong down toward the fence. You know, we've got that fence down. And so after I mowed the yard with the riding mower, I took a push mower, went down and mowed around the garden and weed eated, and was looking there because, and it looked like to me there was black plastic, and so I didn't do anything. I just went ahead and finished. It was hot. I got out of the sun, and then when my wife got home, I made mention of it to her. And so, I don't know, about 30 minutes or an hour later, we went down and just to check it out. And, you know, you could tell some of the ground had been broke up. And I just dug around to try to, you know, see what it was, you know, what is this? And in that process, and of course it was probably 3 feet around or something too. And in that process, you know, it became apparent to us that there was a black bag here. And it seemed like that, you know, in the process that there was a rug. I mean, that's what I thought, wow, that looks like a rug. So with that, I said, well, we, covered it back up, and that's what we done. I just took the shovel and covered it back up, because there was some flies and stuff. And so we just covered it up and, went up to the house, and we started discussing, initially we thought, in our view, wow, this is something that's somebody has put something here, and we thought initially that somebody has brought something in there and done it. That was our thoughts.
Did you think that the odor and what you had observed in your garden could very likely have to do with the disappearance of Savannah Spurlock?
I mean, I was wondering, with everything that's going on, but I didn't know. I just thought, well, if it is, I want to know. Okay. I want to know what this is, because obviously it's not an animal. They don't use plastic to cover their...
Okay.
During a thorough search of David Sparks' bedroom in his parents' home in Lancaster, Kentucky, investigators discovered several suspicious items, including black trash bags identical to those found at the scene, a pair of rubber gloves, and a roll of clear packing tape. These items were immediately sent to the state forensic laboratory for testing. Shortly after Savannah Spurlock's remains were discovered, local police officially announced the arrest of David Sparks, the last person known to have been with her on the night she disappeared. Forensic analysis revealed that 3 strips of clear tape used to bind Savannah's legs had tears that matched perfectly with the roll of tape recovered from David's room, a key piece of evidence directly linking him to the crime. Additionally, a backpack seized from David's closet contained small traces of biological material, and DNA testing confirmed a match to both David and Savannah. Although the state medical examiner could not determine an exact cause of death due to natural decomposition and interference from animals and insects, investigators concluded, based on the burial site's location, the way the remains were restrained and wrapped, and the clear attempt to conceal them, that Savannah had been the victim of a tragic act, and that David Sparks was the one responsible for it. More than a year after Savannah Spurlock's remains were found, the case finally reached its conclusion. On December 5, 2020, at the Garrard County Courthouse in Kentucky, David Sparks formally pleaded guilty in the case that had shaken the entire state. Under a plea agreement reached with the Kentucky Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, David was sentenced to 50 years in prison for causing Savannah's death, plus 12 years for tampering with evidence and 12 months for abuse of a corpse, all to be served concurrently. Prosecutors explained that the plea deal was accepted instead of pursuing a life sentence or harsher punishment because they believed they could not prove certain aggravating circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt during trial. Although David admitted to his actions, he never revealed what led to the tragedy, but also did not deny his responsibility. The court's ruling brought closure to a case that had broken the hearts of people across Kentucky, while finally delivering a measure of justice to Savannah Spurlock's family after nearly 2 years of waiting. David Sparks is currently serving his sentence at the Southeast State Correctional Complex in Wheelwright, and according to prison records, he will be eligible for parole in 2039. After the case came to a close, the family and community of Richmond continued to honor Savannah Spurlock through meaningful acts of remembrance. Though nothing could ever heal the pain of losing a daughter, Ellen Spurlock and those closest to her chose to turn tragedy into a source of compassion and hope. They established the Savannah Spurlock Memorial Fund to support single mothers and young women struggling to balance education, work, and family life. The very challenges Savannah had faced with such strength and determination. In addition, a public memorial service was held in her hometown of Richmond, attended by hundreds of residents, former classmates, and volunteers who had once joined in the search for her. Thousands of candles were lit along the road leading to the town's Central Park, where the community gathered to pray, share memories, and affirm that Savannah's name and her spirit would never be forgotten. The story of Savannah Spurlock is not just a tragic case retold in a true crime documentary. It is also a profound reminder of the fragility of trust and the importance of protecting ourselves in every situation. From her family's desperate search to the tireless efforts of the community and law enforcement, this story shows us that justice may come late, but it never disappears. Savannah's tragedy teaches us that sometimes a single decision, a brief moment of lowered guard, can change the course of a life forever. Let us always cherish our loved ones, stay connected, and never take our own safety for granted. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's story in True Crime Documentary. If you were moved by Savannah Spurlock's heartbreaking yet courageous journey, please share this video, leave a comment in her memory, and subscribe and like to help us continue bringing you more true, emotional, and deeply meaningful stories. We'll see you in the next video, where together, we'll keep uncovering real stories hidden in the shadows and continue our search for the light of justice.